Hey guys, my name is Justin Lake and this is my case study for EDL 851. A good teacher turns bad. It's a situation involving a long-time successful teacher who suddenly turns sour on her class, her colleagues, and her job in general. Problem identification and analysis. What do I know? Mrs. Horton teaches first grade at Crestview Elementary School. It's a rural school. Like I said before, she's a veteran, accomplished teacher, having won the District Teacher of the Year previously. Principal Wilson noticed that last year, after spring break, she kind of ended the year out of character, not being as friendly with colleagues and students and in general. Principal Wilson had also heard of some potential issues at home regarding her husband leaving her and her two teenage sons. He was hoping that her personal issues could be resolved over summer break and she would come back rejuvenated and back to her old self. Unfortunately, the new year started and things were getting worse. Within 6 weeks, parents were making calls to the superintendent asking for their kids to be removed from her class, mainly because her students were crying. They didn't want to go to school because of how rude she was, but parents were also upset that the teacher would not have conferences or respond to emails or calls. And then when confronted about this in front of one of the concerned parents, Mrs. Horton denied all accusations and she was quite aggressive in doing so. What do I need to know? I need to know the root of her behavior. Can we help her get through this? I'm one to give people second chances. If I was going through a tough time, I would hope that my principal would try to help me find a way to get through what was going on so I could do a better job at work. Can I convince her to change how she's been teaching? Can I find a way to make her students feel safe in her room again, or is the damage already done? And then can she repair the relationships with parents who no longer trust her or want her to be their children's teacher? And can she repair relationships with her students? And then also, how much quality instruction time has been lost by her being out of her normal teaching zone, I guess you could say. The problems, I put an S in there because I think there's two problems. A quality teacher is going through something personal that has negatively affected her ability to teach young children. Like I stated before, she's clearly a successful teacher, having won the District Teacher of the Year previously. And you never want to just cut bait with a successful teacher. I would hope that if something happened with me, my principal would present me with the information that my district may be able to offer for mental health or counseling or guidance of any sort to help me get my personal life in order so I could get back to my old self in my professional life. And the other problem is obviously a classroom of students who are scared to go to school, have angry parents, and have obviously been hurt as far as their education, because I know if I was scared of my teacher, I wouldn't be able to learn to my full capability. My proposed plan of action with strategies would be A, meet with the teacher again privately about string of unacceptable behavior. Explain that we will support her as much as we can to help her with whatever is causing it. That's kind of repetitive of what I said at the previous slide, but I feel like it's important to support your employees because you never know what they're going through, and I would hope that I could get that support if something like that ever happened to me. Number 2, make a plan with the teacher on how she will work to improve her recent behavior. Number 3, explain that if she isn't willing to take steps necessary to change her newfound behavior, changes will be made so students get a proper education. Unfortunately, for Mrs. Horton, the number one important thing in this scenario is the students. If I was ruthless, that would be all that I was concerned about. But I know that good teachers are hard to come by, and like I said, I believe people deserve second chances, and I would like to give her one last chance to get her stuff together and find a way to get back to her old self. But if she can't, a change will be made. Number 4, a letter to parents stating that the situation has been addressed and requesting patience. It's been addressed because if Mrs. Horton doesn't decide or agree to change her ways and take counseling or guidance or any help the district can offer her to get back to her normal self, then we will have to cut bait because the kids come first. And if we cut bait, then there will be a long-term substitute so the kids can get a proper education and don't feel scared coming to school anymore. Number 5, if she is agreeable to a new plan in which she'll follow to fix her behavior in the classroom, she'll be closely monitored with daily check-ins and then weekly meetings. And then number 6, like I said before, the teacher will be terminated if she can't change or if she aggressively decides that she won't change. Number 3, resolve issues based on promoting success of all students. Like I said, if the teacher is unwilling to accept help from the district or change, she would be terminated for the good of the student's education and well-being. And then also I reached out to parents in hopes they'd reassure their students that the situation was being handled. I think one of the biggest deals that's going to be difficult for Mrs. Horton, besides getting her personal life in order, is rebuilding the trust that she has lost with her parents, or with her students, and also her students' parents. So I'm really hoping that the letter to the parents, I hope they've got a heart like me where they want to give somebody a second chance. Number 4, debrief the problem with reflection. I instantly felt for her students, but I also felt for her. I can't imagine what it'd be like to go from being a fantastic teacher who's winning awards for how good she is at her job to all of a sudden being scared of by her students, having people call this not only principal but the superintendent on her. So clearly there's something going on in her personal life that needs to be addressed. I have a duty to provide students with a safe and productive environment. That's number 1, first and foremost. But I also felt a duty to offer help and a last chance to a vested teacher because those are hard to come by. Ultimately, the students' needs have to come first, but I would like to be able to fix both problems if possible. And unresolved issues include trust of students and teachers, and willingness of teacher to change. Because not only has she lost the trust of her students, but she's also became aggressive and rude towards other teachers. So yeah, previously I stated students and parents, but also teachers as well she needs to earn their trust back. Number 5, promoting academic success and personal well-being. By offering help, giving the teacher a final chance to change, and essentially giving her an ultimatum, I promoted the academic success, instructional quality, and personal well-being of each student involved. The current classroom environment is not conducive to learning due to the teacher's aggression and lack of commitment to her students. By forcing the teacher's hand to change her tune or be terminated, I've given my students the best chance to receive the instruction and education they deserve. So she's either going to change and get back to her old self, or she'll be removed and I'll bring in another teacher who the students can feel safe around and can have a better environment for learning. By forcing the teacher's hand to change her tune or be terminated, I've given my students the opportunity to have a safe classroom. Like I stated before, if she doesn't change, new person, all of a sudden the fear is gone, and the kids can actually sit down and learn like they're supposed to at school and not be scared.